Well, today is a little bit different video. I actually have an older Winchester model 1400 Mark II, and this gun is about, well, this gun's at least 30 years old. My dad bought it for me when I was a teenager, and I love this gun. And it's a 20 gauge auto. It does not have the interchangeable chokes. Some 1400s do. This one does not. But the modify's done all I needed to do. But now that this gun's at least 30 something years old, I want to go through and clean it up good. Take a look at it. I know the parts list. I know what it should have. I mean, I didn't take the best care of the gun being a teenager when I shot this gun a lot. And I shot it on up until being a young adult. I got a 12 gauge. But I still take it out on the range. It's going to be handed down to my son Elijah, who is, at the time of this video, he's 12, almost 13. He has an over and under Stoeger, but this is also still a good gun he likes to shoot. So I just thought I'd do a video as I take it down. And what all is it into disassembly and reassembly. First of all, we just take off this valve cap. This cap is called a valve cap because it does have a pressure relief built in, if you can see that. Has a vent here. That's in pretty good shape. I just need to clean it up. I have cleaned this since we started shooting it this year. It's not terribly dirty. This gun here, after you take that off, well, there should actually be some forearm spacers here. It's got a little detent. It rides on these teeth here, as you can hear it. But it should be some spacers in here as well. And I know I do not have those spacers, but the barrel and forearm comes off just that easy. When we do clean the gun up, we want to make sure we get these two ports here. That is where the gas actually fires the piston. I'm going to set the barrel and the forearm aside. We have our magazine tube, which actually has both springs, the one for the magazine tube and the spring and the follower here. And it also has the spring, now you can see it, for the actual slide arm. It's actually called the return spring. Now that we have the barrel and the forearm off, I'm just going to wipe some of this oil off here from last time I oiled it. Now, of course, I had the gun like this initially before I started handling the gun for safety reasons, to make sure it wasn't loaded. I always double check, you know, no ammo in the gun. It's always good to leave this open. However, at this point, I failed to say it when I done it, but I want to close the actual action slide, and I want to remove the trigger assembly. And this is very easy. Some guns like the I think the Remington 1100 have 2 pins. This one only has 1, and you can use a screwdriver or a punch for this. I just use a punch in my hand. This pin should go in and out very easily. I'll talk more about that on reassembly, but never force that. Something isn't right if you have to force that in. The trigger assembly comes out just that easy. We'll set it aside with a pin. Now we can see our slide. And now that we got the trigger assembly out, we can actually raise up these slide arms. And our whole breech bolt and the breech bolt slide is just sliding free now. So to me, I like to get the slides out of the way so I can do more, the slide arms, the slide arms out of the way so I can handle the actual breech slide better. You can tell this spring is under pressure. So this can be a little bit tricky, but it's not that much to it. We just want to pull this spring down to take some of the tension off of it. And the piston is actually flush. You can see that. Hopefully it'll focus here. It's actually flush there, so it's not like it's going to run down as long as you have something over it. Just want to take some pressure off of the actual spring, and you can actually just pull however you want to do it. You can either wedge something in and use a tool. I just grab it with my fingers and just pull that pin out and just set it aside like that. And now you can remove your screwdriver and very carefully raise the gun up. And here's your piston and your actual return spring out of the magazine tube. Now your slide arms at this point can just slide right out of the gun. So now all that we have left is the magazine spring and the magazine follower, which is going to stay in place. I'm not going to remove it at this time. I have no reason to. I will, to give it a good cleaning, however, and for the purpose of this video, I will take the firing pin out and remove the whole slide. The breech bolt to stay in, but I will remove the whole breech slide. The firing pin, which is internally in between the breech slide and the actual cock and handle bridge. Now, like a Remington 1100, you actually pull this handle out to remove the bolt or the breech bolt. But in the older Winchester 1400, we just remove this screw. You can see that it's just a flathead screw, and that's all it is to that plate. The plate is connected to this handle, and that also keeps your firing pin sandwiched in between there. So let's do that real quick. You might need a little smaller screwdriver. It just takes a pretty fine blade screwdriver to get in there. It's just that one screw. Remove that screw. With that screw removed, the actual cocking handle bridge will pop up, and once that happens, the firing pin came out on its own. The way I like to do it is just slide the actual cocking handle bridge plate, slide it up, and once it goes past your breech bolt slide, it'll actually come out. You can set that aside. I'm going to slide this forward and take out the firing pin and the firing pin spring. Going to keep those together. They're still well lubricated from the last time I cleaned it. So now we can just slide the whole breech assembly with the breech bolt and the whole breech bolt slide. They will stay together unless we knock out that pin, which we don't want to do at this time. The last thing to remove is the actual ejector spring, which actually it is the ejector and the spring all together. It just simply goes on that pin. You can see that pin internally. It goes on that pin like so. And sticks out, and the barrel, a groove in the barrel actually comes down and holds that pin. Well, holds that spring in that pin in place. And two things happen there. The actual slide goes back and forth over that, and of course that's what helps eject your shell out. We just want to make sure we put that in the right way. It's pretty obvious how that goes. We have a bare bones aluminum housing here, and it is super lightweight. I know I grew up with it, so I'm going to like it. It's a big part of my childhood, but the 1400 was such a good shooting gun. It's a lightweight aluminum housing and just a handy little gun to have around. It kind of got a bad rap by being cheaply made, but it is a pretty lightweight gun for its size. What I'm going to do now off camera is I'm just going to clean it up and save some of the actual video time. But I'm just going to clean it up, like I mentioned, the ports, the piston, and make sure the ports and all's clean on that. Get everything cleaned up and we'll reassemble. If you like the video featuring the model 1400 disassembly, please give it a thumbs up. Please subscribe, and thanks for watching.